even if you feel the slightest understanding that, you know what, I am not okay by myself, it will be better if I have someone along with me, please reach out. Everything this child had got from the parent figure has been negative. That itself is a grief process that the child is trying to get over. I should have been out of it by now. Why am I still stuck in this process? Don't have those thought processes, because grief is a complicated emotion and it is going to take time. For people who are giving support, the main thing that I would suggest is, do not underestimate or diminish what people are going through. Be there for them. Sometimes silence helps, sometimes talking helps.
Thank you, Dr. Shobita, for joining us on the show today. And we have been talking about grief, and you've touched on different aspects of grief. Grief is not to be diminished, but it is to be felt, not to be suppressed, the different stages of grief. Now, taking it a step forward, um, certain scenarios are there, especially the bond between a father and son, mother and daughter. When one of them loses a parent or a child, the grief is really deep. Now, in such situations, when I say situations, complicated situations, how can people address their grief? Will it be a prolonged grief? Will they ever be able to come out of it? Uh, these are some of the questions.
We don't forget things.
Mm.
We don't push memories off. They're going to be there for life. So, likewise, grief is going to be there for life. So, we lose someone, especially someone who's very, very close to us. It could be a parent, it could be a friend, it could be anyone. But if my connection with the person has been very strong and they have been my primary support system and been walked with me in every step that I had taken, that loss is going to take longer to get over, right? But professionally speaking, getting over that loss also depends upon various other factors. Like, for example, if someone had gone through terminal illness and they have been in pain for a long period of time, to actually see them move over to the other side, for some people, it gives complicated emotions within them where they are feeling the loss, that person is no more, but they are also feeling peaceful that at least now they are not in pain.
Yeah, that's true.
So they have conflicted emotions like that, which is okay to have in grief, which is absolutely fine, right? And sometimes our relationship with the person has been pretty strong. It's more or less like a love-hate relationship. I like them, but I also don't like them. So that can also bring up conflicting emotions within me. So in that context, it might take longer for this person to get over the grief. That's one factor. The other thing is other factor that can help us understand the grieving process. So who I am as a person and what my value systems and ideologies are also makes a lot of difference in being able to come to terms with grief either faster or taking too much time. Like, for example, if my belief system has been something where it's okay, I will meet them again, right? I have this hope that I'm going to meet this person again. Maybe coming to terms with the grief and the loss that I'm experiencing right now might be a lot more easier, right? But then again, if as an individual, my value system is that I'm attachment wise, I'm a very clingy person and I need to be physically be with a person to feel connected, to feel loved, to feel accepted. And when I lose that person, then that's going to hit me very, very hard. So my individual personality trait of who I am as a person and my value systems does play a vital role in me coming to terms with grief or accepting grief itself like that. And also the cultural aspect of how much space people are giving me to grieve, right? Now there are certain, most of our work cultures, they do give us time to take that break, to be with the other loved ones, to have that time to grieve and then come back. But then there's also the aspect of providing. So if I'm the caretaker and I have to provide, then I don't get the time enough to grieve. I end up getting pulled into other factors. So that makes it difficult to accept grief in the long run.
Dr. Shobita, when is the right time to get professional help?
There's no right or wrong time. If you feel you need additional help from outside people, uh, please go ahead and ask for help.
Okay.
Don't wait. Don't wait for symptoms to get more or less. There's nothing like that. If you feel you are capable enough of handling it, you have adequate family support, your network systems are good, your friends whom you can rely back on, and then you're able to do it, well and good. But if you feel the help that you're getting from immediate family is not enough, then please immediately ask for help. Like for example, one of the clients, who I had listened to about the grief process that they had gone through. So the person had lost their mother at when they were 12. So the support they were getting from home was bare minimum because the other parent moved on in terms of getting into other relationships, and the other two siblings were older siblings and they could move on. But this person was feeling very stuck in that place and position, and at one point the person felt alone for a long period where no one was there, and they were still grieving the loss of a parent whom they were very closely connected to. So at the end, the other parent had to step in, and then the words they said did not help because they said, "You'll be fine, it's okay, it's just a process." And that did not help. So they had to go to an group of people where they had gone through similar experiences to a professional help center, and they joined the group and they were on therapy for a long period of time, and that helped them move on. So there is no right space or understanding to feel that you want to move on. Even if you feel the slightest understanding that, you know what, I am not okay by myself, it will be better if I have someone along with me, please reach out. Or even as a precautionary measure, you've gone through some loss, you want to take professional help, please reach out as soon as possible. Reach out and we'll help you with the process.
How does faith play a role in the grieving process? Uh, you spoke about value system, our culture,
Yeah.
but does faith play a role, and how much does it play a role in our grieving process?
Faith definitely plays a big role in our grieving process because if I'm to understand most of our value system and belief and everything, they all come from our faith background. They are not two separate entities somewhere. They are mixed in terms of where my belief system is coming from. So faith does play a very important role in being able to accept the grief. Um, on the contrary, what we also have to be watchful about is uh, because of faith, people have not been able to get over grief.
Okay.
So there are instances where people have, like for example, I know someone who has had a very bad relationship, very bad connection with the parental figure.
Okay.
And they are unable to get back to faith because of that. Because the message they have constantly been getting from that parent was, because God said I'm doing this to you, because God said I'm saying this to you.
Okay.
And all of those have been hurtful things. And the person was an absent parent figure otherwise. So everything this child had got from the parent figure has been negative. That itself is a grief process that the child is trying to get over from. And then on top of it, if you are again going to talk from the concept of faith and say, God is there for you, they don't believe. Because God, for them, from their understanding, God was never there for them.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense at all. So, talking to people about faith in the process of their grief, we have to be very mindful of what their past experience has been. For someone who says, God is my everything, it will make sense for them when you say, it's all right, God has a purpose for why He has allowed something like this in your life at this time, right? Or to make purpose out of the loss they are going through, for them it will make more sense.
Yeah.
So the background of where the client is coming from is very important to have that understanding before we talk about. But yes, a lot of majority of people, at least from our Indian setting, whichever faith background they have come from, faith has definitely helped in terms of coming to terms with grief.
Yes.
One, in terms of accepting grief. Two, in terms of being able to move on in life, having the strength to say that, okay, I have gone through a loss. Now I need to do what needs to be done. To have enough strength and resilience to move from there, faith has definitely helped a lot of people do that. Yes.
Another question that I have in my mind is what does acceptance look like when a person is grieving and we say this is normal for them, for in their scenario? When we come to the stage of acceptance, what does it look like? Can we define it and say, yes, this person is moving forward now?
Usually what happens is their everyday life is not affected much. They will have memories. They will have recurrent memories of the loss, of the person, of the situation coming back. But the reaction to that will not be intense. They might feel pain, but they'll be able to handle the pain. They might feel a little pleasant about experiencing or reliving the happy memories they have had. So the intensity of reactions that they are giving back when they are having the flashbacks or the memories will be less intense, and it will not affect their everyday life. That's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is they are more oriented to what is happening. They are more in the present. They are not living in the past or not living in the future. They are more in the present, focusing on here and now, trying to do things, improvising on themselves. They will have a sense of purpose.
Okay.
That this is how maybe life has to go on, and they will come to terms with it.
Okay.
So this one person I was just listening to while coming over, he was just talking about two grandmothers and their responses to reactions, because they both had been survivors of concentration camps.
Okay.
So one grandmother says, I am ready for the coffin. That's the resilience she's coming from, thought process. Whereas the other grandmother says, life happens. We need to learn to live and move on. So what she has done with her life is built up her own hobbies, feels very happy about cooking for other people around her, and she's thriving in what she's trying to do. Now, if you look at the difference between both, one is surviving. I live because I have to live, while the other is thriving in terms of what they're doing. So this is some difference that you will see in when people have been able to move on, the way they have come to terms with the fact, come to deal with the fact that, all right, now let me see what to do. That does not diminish. They will not push the memories back. They will not feel bad about talking the same things again, right? So they will be more stronger in terms of being able to come to terms with it. Emotional reactions will be less intense. So it doesn't have to be 100% all the time. Sometimes it's 40, sometimes it's 30, sometimes it's 60. So it depends upon individuals also.
Another scenario that it's not a scenario, I've heard a lot about this, that especially in elderly couples, when one of the spouse passes away, the other one maybe in 3 months or 6 months quickly pass. Why does that happen?
See, that is the intensity of grief is more there because, for example, they have lived for about 35, 40 years together. To a larger extent, physically, you're synced together in terms of how you think, how you process, how you function. So whether we like it or not, the bonding is that strong. So breaking that bond actually is like a heartbreak for the surviving spouse. So usually when that kind of intense grief goes, studies have shown that there are strings in the heart that actually physically break for people.
It really breaks.
Yes, yes. There are studies that have shown that as well.
Okay.
So intensity of grief is more there because the bonding is that much more stronger. The bonding is also stronger because through the good and the bad, they have survived together.
Okay.
They have sustained that long. So even without the other person saying, or just one look from them will give the understanding to the other person, what they are trying to say and what they are trying to make you understand. So it's easier for them to function like that. They will still have fights, they will still have conflicts, all of that will be there. But the overall love that they have had was way more stronger than anything else. So when that bond breaks, the grief, intensity of grief is much more. And that it actually causes physical pain for them. They experience heart attack like symptoms, anxiety symptoms, that this person is not there. So they go through a lot of other physical difficulties, and emotional intensity also is more.
Another incident. The thing is that if we move from if an incident has happened in one place, people tend to leave that place completely, thinking that maybe if they move to another place, they'd be able to carry on, move forward in life, and forget about what has happened here. Does that really happen, or we actually carry the grief along, right?
It gives us a temporary relief when we make that kind of a change. So change of place, new people, new faces, it does help to a certain extent, but it may not give the permanent processing of grief. It may not really help us reach the acceptance phase if we are not actively working on it. We can be miles apart, but if you have not worked on it intentionally, it is not going to go. So, but it will give a temporary relief, definitely, yes. For some people, that they make that kind of a change because the pain is too much to bear, and therefore they end up making that kind of a change. So, but the important thing is, after they make that shift, once they feel that the intensity of pain is less, they need to come back and intentionally work on the grieving process and then try and get over it. So that needs to be done.
Okay. So we've come to the end of the show, Doctor. So any final words of encouragement or words that you'd like to share for the person who's grieving, maybe someone who's watching the show is going through the grieving process, and also to the people who are giving that support, that care to the grieving family?
For people who are grieving, what I would say is ask for help. Because something that culturally we have been ingrained, especially for men and with adolescents, asking for help is not encouraged more often. It's like, oh, you're a grown up, you deal with it. You have to face it. So, of course, we are going to face it. But having an extra hand at that point to support and move on will definitely help at that point. So, please ask for help, because for people from the outside, without you sharing, we will not know what is happening within you. So ask, reach out, and there are always people out there to help out. And don't be too hard on yourself, because sometimes even through the grieving process, people feel that something has happened only because of me, or somewhere I am to blame in the process. So don't be too hard and fast on yourself, or have the standard for yourself that, you know, I should have been out of it by now. Why am I still stuck in this process? Don't have those thought processes, because grief is a complicated emotion and it is going to take time and additional help to get over it. And it's fine. It's okay to be there. For people who are giving support, the main thing that I would suggest is, do not underestimate or diminish what people are going through. Be there for them. Sometimes silence helps, sometimes talking helps. So you read the person, see in what manner of help, what aspect they need the help from, and then provide that particular support. Because we might think we are helping, like bringing, there are a lot of people who bring food and say, you know, I'm giving, I'm helping out, and they might sit and talk, they might cry. But you have to understand if that is helping the person or not. If it is not, then you don't end up putting the blame on other person, or you don't end up feeling sad for that. So understanding what they need and working and being there around that time would definitely help out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shobita, for helping us understand and the process of grief, the emotion of grief. And I'll always come back to your statement, which is don't diminish grief, but it has to be felt. Give it time, and let if you're giving support, be there for them. Try to understand what is going on, and then support people. So, as I open the show, saying that all of us go through those seasons of grief, and we need to be more empathetic and compassionate towards one another and care for each other. Thank you so much for sharing your insights on
Thank you
this
for
show.
having me.
Thank you.